Merry Christmas, almost. It's the Special Moves Podcast, episode 60. My name is Mike Williams. This is Jake Kulkowski and Liam McKelvey.
Hello.
Hey, gamers.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, it was the Christmas tree in last week.
It was definitely last week.
We're sort of easing you in to the festive spirit.
You know, I feel Christmassy now. I'm ready for it.
You went to a Christmas market yesterday.
I did, yeah. Went to Chester, Tory Chester, and it was very nice.
in England. Across
the border.
I'm getting close to that Christmas feeling, you know. It's only a couple of weeks left in work. Shouts out to everybody who's working in retail. My heart fucking goes out to you guys. You're the real MVPs.
Ooh, hospitality as well, hotels.
Any
you're talking
service
Christmas
industry,
Day. Yeah, exactly.
Let us know if you are one of these people, and we'll give you an honorary love heart and a little sad face in the comment section in solidarity for that. But yeah, I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling pretty good for it, and it's the season for games.
Have you guys ever worked on Christmas Day?
Yeah,
No,
I've
worked Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day.
I worked 4 Christmas days on the bounce. 4 Christmas days on the bounce. Do you know what the saddest thing about that is? That was when I was working at Wetherspoons. It was and like the martyr I am, because like a lot of the people working there had kids and stuff, and I had nothing going on. I was like, yeah. And then I used to go home. I didn't want to have my family wait for Christmas dinner for me because we had our elderly relatives there. So after a shift, I'd get home, I'd microwave a lonely Christmas dinner. I'd crack a cracker by myself, and I'd eat a Christmas dinner alone. But now, guys, everything's coming up Millhouse. I'm right here. I don't have to fucking have I cook the Christmas dinner for like 12 people now, and it's really nice. And get to play loads of games, which is what... It's all about.
Yeah, well, exactly. The only time the closest I've ever got, like you, Liam, is Christmas Eve, really.
Yeah.
I worked at HMV, but I've worked at loads of restaurants and shit like that. And,
yeah.
But round here, it tends to be seasonal mainly. So, the places I worked anyway, they basically shut for like a few months over the winter. So So I was pretty clear, like through my whole young life.
I don't want to judge people for any reason, but let me just tell you, when you're working Christmas Day, what you don't want to have as clientele are the people that go to Wetherspoons for Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
They were very rude. They would be complaining constantly. I'm not the chef. I was just pouring drinks, you know. Anyway, that's all behind me now. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to be playing over Christmas, boys? What are you going for, Liam?
I mentioned it a few weeks ago. I'm still trying to pick a JRPG.
You're still working on that?
I've not had any. There's too many. There's just too damn many.
Yeah.
And I've not managed to pick one. I did buy Star Ocean, the remastered version, which came out this Friday just gone, or the Thursday just gone.
Yeah.
So I might play that because it's quite short as well. And
how's that? How short is short for a JRPG?
20 hours.
Yeah, okay.
For a JRPG, that is miraculously
good
short.
length for your average AAA game, isn't it?
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to go where the mood takes me.
Very nice.
So,
you know what? Yeah, it's so difficult. I was thinking about this earlier. Right, it's difficult to be when I was a kid, I would just do whatever I wanted, but now I'm like
shackled to adulthood.
No, yeah, like I think maybe it's because I'm thinking, well, I might be dead in like 30 years, so I've got to use this time wisely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just like in the back of my mind, kind of thing. So when I was a kid, I would just be like, yeah, I fancy watching Star Wars like for the 17th time, so I'll do that. Yeah. But now I'm like, I need a new thing, don't I? I need to seek out a new
to be fresh
experience. Exactly, yeah. and I've got an hour spare here. Make sure it's a good one, Mike.
I don't often do repeat plays of games, but I am well in, as in 54 hours in to a Dark Souls 3 replay at the moment, and then so I'm going for the platinum. I'm 4 trophies away, guys, and I'm on New Game Plus, so I just need to get all the rings this way round, and then New Game Plus, there's a couple of rings that you get there that are plus rings, right? Because you need 105 in general. I've got 2 gestures away and 1 pyromancy away from getting those, and then after that it's simply the rings, and then I am done. And as a little treat, I will then load up a character which I've cloud saved just before I started New Game Plus. I've got like a really overpowered level 140 strength character, and I'm going to go into the DLC and trounce it. I'm going to go in there 50 levels above the recommended level and just stomp every single fucking skeleton.
I've just bought the DLC for Dark Souls 3 as well.
It's on sale half price at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and so what? Well, it started off as so I've got Bloodborne, like the physical, like Game of the Year edition.
Everyone knows,
right? Mm-hmm. It's a good game. It's a pretty good game. But I've also got it like digitally because they gave it away PS Plus ages ago. It's by now it's the kind of game where I fancy almost like a shooter, just jumping into it for a little bit sometimes.
Okay, yeah.
But I hate changing a disc on my PlayStation.
I know, yeah.
So getting up, walking, like all that. So the only thing I'm missing is the DLC. So I thought, do you know what? It's like £7 or something.
Yeah. You're missing it digitally because you've already played it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm missing the digital copy. So I've bought the digital version of the DLC for Bloodborne, but then at the same time there's a lot of Dark Souls 3 advertising going on the PlayStation Store. You're playing it.
There really is. And do you know what as well, right? And not to be a fucking whingy bastard about it, but I'm going to be a whingy bastard about it. I've been getting the Platinum, and a lot of the Platinum is doing the Covenants, farming the Covenants. So, for example, you need to get 30 vertebrae shackles. The best way of doing that, the quickest way, in an ideal world, when the game launched in 2016, would be invade 30 other players' worlds and kill them. It's quick.
Was it 2016, was it?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So the alternate is to kill these 2 skeletons in the catacombs of Carthus over and over and over and over again. 6 hours it took me to get 30. But that's not all.
You're like a fucking fisherman who is like, I was out on a fucking waste.
Anybody, if anyone listening has got that Dark Souls Platinum, you know about the Concord kept farming as well. The hardest one is the proof of Concord kept. The easy way of doing it in the ideal world in 2016 when the game came out would be you put on your what's it? Not a fucking clan. Like, do you know what I'm saying? You put your allegiance thing, and I can't remember the word, covenant, and then if someone invades another player, you get called as a blue sentinel to help them. If you can kill the dark spirit, the player that's invading, you get the proof of Concord kept. You need 30 of them for the Platinum as well. That took me 7.5 hours of farming offline because there was no fucking people playing the game. And now, when you launch the game up, when you go to the bonfire select screen, like your fast travel menu, you've got a little indication of where players are.
Oh, right.
It's like a little stickman, and it goes up to... That was empty on my playthrough, and now, because it's half price, the deluxe edition's half price, everything's half price, I'm playing it in New Game Plus now, and I can see other people, and I'm getting fuming. If I played this game a week after, I would have saved myself about 20 hours, man.
Yeah.
Fucking...
Your life must be really hard.
Fuck's sake.
I think the DLC with the DLC for Bloodborne is so fucking good. It's just pretty much my favourite DLC ever.
It's unreal.
It's
right? Like the same as the game. I can't imagine... It feels like the finale, almost.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't imagine the game without it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you were the first one to really say this that I listened to anyway. But it's Bloodborne is heavily inspired by Lovecraft and does its own thing with it. But then the DLC proper, sort of brings it home in a certain way. Do you know what I mean?
It's the more maritime Lovecraft
in terms of
the spacey shit.
Yeah, and it sort of gives you the final key ingredient in a way of what if you're ever going to say something is inspired by Lovecraft. Sort of thing.
It gives you a world full of
fishmen.
Fishmen, and what are them things? Limpets.
Yeah,
it's limpety as fuck, isn't
it? And that's so good. And then I love Dark Souls 3, and if I had to pick my favourite games of all time, and I was thinking of Dark Souls, I would pick that as my representative for the series. Even though obviously Dark Souls 1 is the most influential, the first one, the one
everyone forgets Demon's Souls because
they broke the ground. No, right. Listen, I was thinking that I was thinking this exact thing the other day when I was thinking about Dark Souls 3 on my own. And everyone always you mentioned Demon's Souls. And I get that, but
it can get fucked because
Dark Souls is the fucking one, isn't it?
Am I the only one who's played Demon's Souls?
Yeah, you're about one of the 5 people on planet Earth that's played it.
Yeah,
because you have to.
Where's the fucking Demon's Souls trilogy? Do you know what I mean?
You have to dig out a PS3 or get an emulator working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apparently, the emulated version is a bit shitty.
Did you play that when it came out? Or did you go back to it?
I went back to it. I think. So after we did our Dark Souls World Cup thingy
in the summer of 2018,
I
went back and dug out the PS3, and started playing Demon's Souls.
And the I've watched a lot of Demon's Souls and seen people talk about it on YouTube.
It feels more like a proof of concept, If you go back and play it after you've played Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Demon's Souls feels more like a prototype.
Yeah. Dark Souls is unquestionably the finished artistic masterpiece that went on to influence games forever.
Which is why you'll see Game of the Decade lists already. You can see them. Dark Souls in the top 5 nearly every list.
But in terms of personal, pure enjoyment and like thrills out of it, I think Dark Souls 3. To be honest, I just think
it's the love letter to the others as well because it's proper fan servicey. Like I daren't even say it, but like the last boss is harkening back to the last boss in Dark Souls 1. It ties up all this lore. There's loads of mystery in the first two games.
The bosses behave a lot more Bloodborne-y in terms of speed and like ferocity.
I feel like there's a really good variety. I feel like there's Bloodborne-y bosses. There's proper Dark Souls 1 gang fight bosses. So I know what you mean. It's a good champion.
And I've only played it through the once, right? And I've been fancying a replay for a long time, but I reckon I need to do the DLC as well to get the full picture because everyone always says the Dark Souls DLC is great, and I've never played any of it.
I played the first one, didn't play the second one, even though I got the...
I've done Notorious of the Abyss. I think that was the only one I did.
Okay.
That's for Dark Souls 1.
There's 2 with Dark Souls 3. There's Ashes of Ariandel, and then there's the Ringed City. And the Ringed City...
I got both of them on sale.
Well, the weird thing is, the Season Pass, which is both of them, is more expensive than getting them separately.
Yeah, it's PlayStation sales at the moment.
It's 20 quid for the Season Pass, but it's they're $5 each.
Okay.
So it's literally like half price.
If you want to get like Battlefield 5 digital at the moment, it's 55 quid, right? If you want to get it with UFC 3 though, it's 20 quid.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on with that? Yeah. UFC is worth negative £35. Like,
can't be that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
The DLC, the Ringed City DLC is home to what a lot of people consider the hardest Soulsborne boss ever. Even more than Cos. It's Slave Knight Gale or Guile or Gale. But I guess that all these lists before Ashina, because Sekiro surely has the last 2 bosses, Demon of Hatred and Ashina, are definitely the hardest.
The last boss in Sekiro is so time-consumingly difficult that I forgot completely about the Demon of Hatred, which itself took me multiple hours. To you know what I mean?
Demon of Hatred was my toughest boss in that.
It's hard as fuck, innit? And I forgot about that because of the...
I didn't even beat it. I just gave up. Same with...
it's fucking rock
with Dark Souls 3, I've just been doing it, and I didn't even realise that there was a whole area I missed.
Yeah. I had to listen to Rage Against the Machine
to
finish some of these fucking bosses off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to take myself out of the drama.
Measures.
Yeah, exactly. It was like...
so you're going to go into Dark Souls 3 maybe?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that might be my Christmas game at the moment.
Nice.
Death Stranding, I haven't played it in
it's
weeks.
Worth it, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is. Do you know what's weird? Yeah, I'm almost thinking about starting it again because I want to
get the run up.
Yeah, and I want to get sort of embedded in the story and the lore and stuff like that.
If you're going to do it over any time, it should be over Christmas, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully I'll have some time off to do that. But yeah, Dark Souls 3 is my other one that I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna take another run at it.
I finished both of them literally in the past month, and I can highly recommend both of them.
Yeah,
you know,
very nice, boys. All right then. So it's that time of year we should be talking about Game of the Year type stuff, I guess, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, normally you do it towards the end of the year, but we've got Game of the Decade to be talking about as well in another week or so, and then
which is why we're doing it. I guess maybe a week early. We're doing our Game of the Year now.
Yeah, rather than we would have probably done it about next week.
Yeah,
but then we've got. Which was something that people really liked last time. We did a whole podcast on the games that we were looking forward to for the year to come.
Yeah.
So we've got those 2 concepts. Sorry, I've just got the hiccups out of nowhere. So I got those 2 concepts that we've got to do in the next, 2 weeks?
Couple of weeks, yeah.
So I guess it's the time.
It's going to be, and it's Christmas, isn't it? And there's a lot of stuff going on. But I think in terms of the big 3 lists that we need to make sure that we do, well, not lists, but you know what I'm talking about.
Topics,
features, topics,
definitive talking points.
Yeah, definitive talking points. We need to make sure we get these 3 definitive talking points done.
Yeah.
So let's start with Game of the Year then. So we put this out on Twitter, didn't we? A little bit.
Yeah, we did actually. We I don't know if people emailed in. I haven't checked the email because I asked people to email in if they had weird ones, but I haven't checked it, so let's hope we didn't get too many emails.
We didn't.
Alright, good.
I was hoping there was a way where I could come out of that conversation without saying, nah, there wasn't any, but there it is.
People got in with quite a few. Do you want me to just I'll just reel some off, and then we can talk about
maybe... Alright, so we've asked on Twitter what everyone's Game of the Year contenders are, right? This is a weird year for me because I feel like there's a few contenders, but there's not an obvious like standout for me. Mm-hmm. Obvious being a key word.
Well, last year we had God of War, didn't we?
Yeah,
that was like our unanimous decision.
Yeah. And it's in the last few years, it's been easy for me to say that's probably the best game.
Yeah,
but it's been difficult this year to do that.
Yeah, between a couple actually.
Yeah,
it's a good problem to have actually. I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think I've had a couple of games that.
It's been a good year for games.
I reckon people have been moaning a lot online about it being a bad year. I just think play some more games, you fannies. I think play some more games.
It does feel like it's been a long year. It's like I keep forgetting about games that came out at the beginning of the year. Definitely, it feels like they came out ages ago.
I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
I think maybe that's because there's been so many games that are like I feel like there's been a game every couple of weeks that I've been like, okay.
Do you know what it might have been? It's maybe been a slightly lighter or potentially weaker run up to Christmas.
Yeah, this time.
We haven't had that many.
You got some big ones, but for specific audiences. So like Pokemon. That means a lot to some people, and other people just don't give a fuck. Same with Death Stranding. There's people that are way on board, and there's people that just almost hate the idea of Death Stranding, and they don't want to like it. Whereas the year before we had Red Dead Redemption, which is I mean the PC fans have got it now, so I'm glad to hear that that's finally working.
The Call of Duty this year, what was that again?
Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah. That was quite good, I think, wasn't it?
Last year's was good, the online only one, so I guess that stepped up.
I haven't played Modern Warfare yet, but
it's good. It's worth a go.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what have EA been doing.
Chilling.
Not a lot, really.
They Battlefield 5.
They announced a massive Battlefield 5 announcement. They announced a massive Battlefront 2 update coming.
Yeah.
They've been more just updating their games from previous years.
Which I'm very happy with because it's not cost me a penny and I've had some awesome Battlefront stuff.
Well, they had Anthem, didn't they?
And Battlefield stuff.
Yeah, they had Anthem.
They had Anthem in their yearly slate of sport games. The new Need for Speed wasn't half bad for a Need for Speed game.
Oh, yeah.
Which isn't saying much. Heat, which people were surprised wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah.
Given the last few. I think that's all they've done, really.
It seems weird, doesn't it?
There's a couple of games that I'm really interested in that I haven't got around to yet. Planet Zoo is one that just sort of... I fucking love that kind of game, and
I've been embedded in this one. I've been watching a lot of it on Twitch, and it was really buggy in the first week, and it put me off getting it. Yeah, just massive issues, like pathfinding issues with animals. Yeah. Animals wouldn't feed because a tiny bit of the food bowl would be clipping through the floor, so therefore the game wouldn't pick up that there was a food bowl there, so animals would be starving. It was so many little bugs like that that to the naked eye you wouldn't have even noticed. As far as you're concerned, you put the food bowl down, and it wasn't even like I saw 1, 2, 5 people who had these problems. It was a bit of a
load of them.
Yeah, especially people who got it early, because all of them were having to tweet about it and then being like, "Oh, I had problems with it." Yeah. So it's kind of put me off getting that, but that's one I had my hand.
Yeah, I think I haven't had any major sort of disappointments or anything this year for sure. I think the only one that I've spent a lot less time with than I probably usually would is Total War, which I forget came out.
Did that even come out this year? Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, it did, Total War 3 Kingdoms, and I really tried with it. Gave it took a few runs at it, but I just couldn't. It just didn't click for me for some reason. Yeah. I really don't know what it is, but it's so that's been the only time I can think. That's a shame. Apart from Anthem, which was, but I wasn't that excited for Anthem. I just wasn't. I wasn't buzzing for it. I wasn't thinking, I can't wait for this to come out. It just sort of, in a way, was well, this is kind of what I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. But somehow...
It's not what I want.
Not what I want, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's kind of serviceable.
Yeah.
That's how I got the Division 2. I'm playing it and I'm feeling the same. I could see this maybe getting better if I keep playing it, keep unlocking abilities and get my skill tree to blossom further, grow more.
But you're not getting into it then?
Just not really doing it for me at the moment. And I'm playing this Call of Duty. I'm playing COD. This is the first COD I've played, and bought since Black Ops 1, which is 9 years ago. Yeah. And I feel like I haven't missed a thing. Especially because it's World War II as well, which is done a million times. And they haven't done it recently loads in the past 10 years, but I haven't played a game like this in 10 years, right? So it's I don't know. It's just exactly the same. I played it online, and because it's such a small pool of players, the matchmaking's off. I'm getting put against 10th prestiges, and I'm level 2. Do you know what I mean? There's no skill matching. The zombies mode is just like a mobile game. There's 100 million boxes and currencies and loot boxes and jolts and all these things.
It's so off-putting. That stuff.
The campaign is the only thing I'm sticking with, and I'm just clinging onto it, wanting to like it. And
one of you boys said a few weeks ago about Destiny, like you know, like the Warframe type direction that Destiny's gone in.
I think it was Liam, but
I think it was
so much that it's also
my view. So do I. So I'm gonna. I said that a few weeks ago.
There's a new season every other day.
Yeah,
which is exactly what Warframe seems to do.
And then Destiny's always had loads of different currencies and stuff, but on the whole, they're like in-game mechanisms to keep the game, to keep you motivations to do things. So you need to get a certain amount of fucking glistening eggs or whatever, and then glistening eggs. After 10 glistening eggs,
is it crystal dust?
You get a glowing chick, right? And then with a glowing chick, that then lays more glistening eggs, and it's like that kind of like.
That's what playing Dauntless felt like.
That's what Destiny feels like.
But then Pets HD or something.
But then Warframe is not Warframe. Destiny has sort of got that currency vibe in it as well now. But the game is now feels like a spreadsheet of numbers and boxes that need opening, as opposed to like a fucking heroic sci-fi Halo light MMO thing, which it was meant to be originally. Do you know what I mean? So all these currencies and stuff are just really, really sort of tiring. I think.
Worse starting a game and then it's like there's pop-ups about stuff. It's weird.
Yeah,
and I know that they're doing it to survive. I just don't care. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with that, and more power to them. And the people that are like really still entrenched in the Destiny meta and all that are really liking it. Like I spend a lot of time on Mixer watching people play it. It's had some real resurgence on there for some reason. And
because it's come to Steam and stuff as well, hasn't it?
Yeah,
free to play.
That's it. And because of all these reasons, like you're watching people who have never left, and they're loving the new changes, the new competition, and all this. But it's like I've never felt. I've been watching the same game that I have and played for hours and looking at it, and I'm like, I don't feel I know it.
You're totally right about the pop-ups when it's like, imagine you hadn't watched the news for 20 years, right? And then you put the news.
This is a sci-fi elevator pitch
and then you put the news on, and then the news says, "Here's what happened over the last 20 years." And it gives you a fucking...
You have to press OK or cancel.
Yeah, you have to no, I don't want to see that. I don't care about that now. That guy's dead. Yeah, that's okay. And you have to skip through all the old fucking news. It just...
Or things that are redundant as well. Like remember to switch over to digital TV on the 4th of June 2001.
Yeah.
Because it's like I remember a pretty good game, and one of the last streams I did was Destiny, and it was on the PC, and I think it was on the PC. Anyway, it was a new account. And at this point, the Destiny, 3 DLCs had come out, So Curse of Osiris, Warmind, and the other one.
Forsaken?
No, one other one. It was like a
House of Wolves or something.
No, maybe it wasn't either two, right? Maybe this is just before Forsaken. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Ironborn or something like that?
No, I think it went Curse of Osiris and then Warmind, then Forsaken.
Yeah,
and then it's Shadowkeep after Forsaken.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was checking out Forsaken or something was going on, right? But I remember turning it on, and obviously I've already been through the game, and then I remember just seeing, go to Mars, and you click, and it's like every other planet on the galactic map. You click it, and then it says, remember you can buy this. Click to go to the store, and I'm like, what? Because if you've never played the game before, you've got Earth, Moon, or whatever fucking planet it is, and then Mercury or Mars, if 50% of them comes up with a pop-up saying remember, and then the other one is
Park.
A reminder of a really whatever that guy's name was. But then another thing is loads of the pop-ups are for high-level endgame PvP seasonal tournaments. Remember the Iron Banner Season 7's on right now. If anyone's got their tokens left over from Season 6, you can use this to get the Projectinator gun. It's none of it makes any sense when you play it, but it's being drilled in, and it's so off-putting.
It was part of the reason why I could never get into MMOs, because of all of the community messaging and stuff, where they all had their own launcher, and then the launcher was full of shit that instantly made you feel like you'd missed out on years, which you had, but the game was like reminding
Final
you.
Fantasy 14 is a bit like that. Whenever you boot up the launcher, it's got like a news feed built into the launcher. It tells you like when maintenance was, and then like restrictions on the ceremonies and stuff like that. I just ignore it completely.
I've got a few questions. What the fuck is a ceremony?
What's a ceremony?
You can get married in Final Fantasy 14. It's called the Ceremony of Eternal Bonding or something.
That's it.
Okay.
You can get
Celestial.
Something like that, yeah.
So
I just ignore it all and just carry on questing.
In short, then, Destiny 2 isn't our game of the year.
No. I'm
going to 2 years ago as well.
I'm going to read a little email out before we carry on with the list, or the very on-topic discussion of games of 2019.
We're half an hour in as well. Hey, sorry, everybody. I'm sure.
If you want to send us an email, the address is dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. That's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Send us an email, give us a topic, something that you've been thinking about, or something that you've done or seen. Let us know about it, and we'll have a chat about it. This one comes from Will Smith in Southampton. Will says, Dear Special Moves, just listen to podcast 59. Fantastic stuff as always. Thank you, Will Smith. When was the last time Mike actually finished a game? I'm asking this because I can completely relate. I find myself finding it increasingly hard to complete games nowadays at the ripe old age of 28. I still very much enjoy games, still love getting on the hype train, and often use the old "this is the best game ever" line after the first 5 hours of playing a game to friends. Will, do you want to have a pint? So because
Well,
we've
you
got
sound
a lot
like
in
you
common.
should start a YouTube channel.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, I find it difficult to get past the last third of the game. An example of this would be Divinity Original Sin 2. I feel like it hasn't had a mention in a while. Thumbs up. I love the game. I would recommend it to anyone, but I just can't get through it. The problem is, whenever I decide to go back to it 6 months later, I feel like I need to start a new game. This led me to thinking, is the first half of a game actually the most fun? Divinity is a good example, as I did enjoy desperately scrambling for a new rusty sword at the start of the game, more than later on in the game when you're comparing tons of blue items with plus this stat and plus that stat. Be great to hear guys' thoughts on this. Cheers, lads. Will Smith. Yeah, great email, Will. That's a good point. It is games definitely do sort of change over time, don't they? Like in terms of your experience with them, and I think everybody loves the start of an RPG, right? Surely, like everyone loves.
Yeah, I love the end of an RPG though, because I'm like, look how far I've come.
Yeah.
They do like front load quite a lot of RPGs these
days. Especially when it's introducing mechanics in. You feel like you're getting a new toy every 5 minutes.
Which makes sense. You know, the devs are going to spend more time in the first hours than they are in the
And then I guess
hours.
they're kind of banking on the story pulling you through, but a lot of people just actually...
And, in fact, the end of Divinity Original Sin 2 was like, you know, not very well regarded by players and stuff, and Larian went in and you know redid a lot of it and redid some of the levels and changed the story and added voice acting, did like big revamp of the latter half of the game, because Act 3, or was it Act 4? I can't remember. It was just not so good when you went to Arx, which is the big city, and I think even after the revamp it's pretty good, but it just doesn't feel as exciting as the opening areas like Fort Joy and that sort of stuff. And the last game I finished was The Last Jedi, actually, the Star Wars game. But that took me, that was like a 15-hour, 20-hour game. Mm-hmm. And I had to really think, well, this is a short game, so I can do this. And I had to commit to it. I finished Divinity Original Sin 2 this year over the summer. That took me fucking ages. I didn't play anything else on my... Was it this year or last year?
It was this year.
It was this year, yeah.
100%.
Jesus Christ. And... So I played it over the course of probably 2 months, maybe. But that's all. And apart from a bit of Apex Legends and that.
It was about that.
That's all I played was Divinity Original Sin 2, and it took me ages while there was no games coming out, and I did love it. Like it's still comfortably one of my favorite games of the last few years. But yeah, I think it is tough to. It is for me anyway. I'm so fucking brain dead after coming back from work, sort of thing. I just want to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't struggle finishing games, but those are the games that I can see why. I just I think it's just necessary for me to finish games. My pet peeve is when I go on YouTube or whatever, and I see videos about games and people don't even finish the games. Like, fuck off. Imagine writing a review of a film after 20 minutes. I always whinge to you about this fucking Netflix's scariest film ever.
Yeah.
And then the impression has been written after they've watched 20 minutes of it, and then they've gathered some tweets and articles. I hate it when the YouTubers do that. There's no Game of the Year lists. There's nothing. It's just annoying. Like, to me, I love it, so I finish it. RPGs, I just stay away from them if I know I'm not going to finish it. Like, I won't pick up a JRPG unless I'm.
I can't even fucking
like, half of it is like that. But and I like indie games because they're nice and short. So I guess maybe I finish games because I am just careful in what I select. Because of that, so I'm not saying that I've got more resilience or anything. I'm cherry picking specific things.
But then that's interesting phrasing. That would imply that you need resilience to finish games that you
certainly
didn't
fucking do, mate. Wait till you hit fucking chapter 4 of Death Stranding. Nah, it's good. It is. But yeah.
Divinity needed resilience in the sense that even though I was really enjoying it, it took me like 100 hours or something.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of like not a completionist, but I do want to. I'm not a completionist in like the trophy achievement sense. I'm a completionist in the sense that I hate like having quests that are finished and unfinished and things like that. And if you move from one area to the next and you haven't swept up all the quests first, because I want to hear all the story.
I think you don't have to go back to it then, do you? You know.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Not because it's such a chore to go back to games, but I mean, like, you know, if you just get the most of it done.
Yeah. So, but then that, especially in a game like Divinity, where it is so dense and the maps aren't that big, but almost every character you speak to's got something to tell you, you know, and they're all there's quests like coming out of that game's. I don't know what the end of that sentence is. There's a lot of quests in that game.
There is a lot.
So there's you know, it's that kind of game is really, really time consuming. Even though you're really enjoying it, it does mean that you can't, when there's other things popping up, it's difficult to not.
Yeah,
you know, jump from one thing to
another thing
the
about
other.
those games specifically, because they're not as linear as some other RPGs, is like momentum is a big factor. If you took a month off and come back, you're like, oh, where am I?
Yeah,
start again.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I just told you that I was thinking about restarting Death Stranding. And I've only, literally, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks since I last touched that.
Imagine if you had 5 Norman Reeduses to juggle. One was a fire slinger, the other was an archer. You'd definitely start again.
Yeah, and Divinity is, I just recommended it to my friend in work who's been having a great time with it on the Switch. I've been playing it on the Switch. It's fucking brilliant on the Switch. It works quite well on the Switch because of the kind of pace of the game is quite laid back, and it's all like, the combat is turn-based, which is excellent in handheld. You know, you're playing some turn-based games, so it works really well on the Switch. But yeah, it's just not possible to find a way for all these games to work unless you're like a student or something, or you just, you know, you've got time to just fucking hammer it.
Yeah. True gamer.
Yeah, unless you got that on your bedroom door, and it's, you know, you tell your mum not to come in sometimes
because you're gaming.
Yeah,
very. I remember those posters. It's horrible things.
Parental advisory, gamer inside. Whatever.
Beware the gamer. Yeah. So yeah, I think that was a good email.
Thanks, Will Smith.
It's a good topic, I think, because like you said, like playing indie games is a good one, because I think I'm the same like that same kind of thing with movies and like one-offs and stuff, like one-off documentaries and things. I always prefer something that I know I'll see the end of that night. Because then it's not fucking. I'm not thinking, well, am I just going to watch half a season of it and then, you know, not ever finish it or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, it's being selective, isn't it? Anyway, fucking on with the Game of the Year chat.
Yeah, well, on with it. Let's just start it. Right?
Actually, I picked that out because I wanted to talk about Last Jedi, and my segue was going to be not Last Jedi. What the fuck's it called?
Fallen Order.
Cheers, mate. And I picked it out. I picked that email out. Because I just finished Jedi Fallen Order.
Is it Game of the Year?
Do you know what? No, it's definitely not. But I just wanted to mention it in the conversation because it's a good Star Wars game, as I keep saying. But it's weirdly like solid. It's weirdly like everything about it is good, but there's nothing in there. Like Titanfall 2 is a good comparison because it's the same studio, but like. Everything in Titanfall 2 is solid, but there's a few things in it that like elevate it and make it pretty special, and then therefore like worthy of like Game of the Year
standout moment.
That's what I said about Fallen Order to you guys. I said it sets the bar early on, never raises that bar, but never lowers it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
it's like consistent.
Yeah, and you know, it's like decent character moments and decent storytelling and decent combat and decent traversal and all that, but.
dynamic is what makes something stand out in your head. Special. And then, if something goes higher, or if a game does have a little bit of a slow moment and then builds up. But I know what you're saying. Because straight lines don't get you game of the year, do they?
Get that on your bedroom door. No, it's like Death Stranding. Okay, so no one is going to say Jedi Fallen Order is the worst game they've ever played. I hate this game. This is trash. This is abusing my time as a gamer, as a true gamer.
Yeah.
No one's going to say that because it's really solid and it's a good game.
Safe. Yeah.
And it's a bit safer. But Death Stranding is like, it's a bit more
divisive,
challenging, and
it has people saying, reviewers saying that.
Yeah.
Death Stranding has come up quite a few times in our list, and I don't know right about recency bias with this one.
About what?
Recency bias.
Recency bias. Okay.
As in, people just saying it because they're so fresh. Yeah.
Boyhood syndrome.
Yeah,
a movie called Boyhood comes out. It was on the greatest movies of all time.
If you're an off-topic podcast listener, you'll know. And we've got another one coming up this week, so keep an eye out. Mike will give you his dissertation about that. Then I'm just kidding, because you already have.
I'm a professor of recency bias at Bangor University.
So Death Stranding came up a few times, in our
absolutely
list, so
absolutely it should be there.
Death Stranding. Irish Tom said Death Stranding is his game of the year so far. He hadn't finished it at the time, but I can see from a recent tweet he has, and then says it is. Bulba Score says, first time in a long while that I felt I was playing something unlike anything I had before. The social building stuff really was amazing. Xmas Ultra says, Death Stranding's presentation and celebrities give it a broad appeal. If the Game Awards are meant to imitate the Oscars, it seems like broad appeal wins over niche dopeness. His favourite was Sekiro. So with Death Stranding, one big sticking point here is about this originality, I guess. The people that kind of the cynics say that it's not original. I actually don't think it's very original.
Death Stranding.
Yeah, I love it, by the way.
I really like it as well, but it's not original.
No, I don't really get people talking about it's unique. Social, it's got this it's got an interesting story, acted really well, but a bit film schooly. But it is it's a good story. Very anime, actually, yeah. Mm-hmm. A specific anime more than others. Mm-hmm. And there's a fucking good gameplay loop with the carrying and this and that, and I love the graphics.
It's visually iconic because now that every time I was out working recently, and I saw a woman walking a dog, and she had a baby on her back, and she was and I just everywhere I turn, I'm seeing Norman Reedus carrying a stack of fucking supplies.
Hearing Mads Mikkelsen saying "BB." Yeah.
So she had a little baby, but the baby was in the box position, but it was much taller than her head. So she was lumbering along a little bit like Norman Reedus.
I 100% think that they have nailed the iconic imagery.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
They've made a little umbrella thingy.
Superb. Yep.
Amazing. The BB thing, just seeing somebody carrying lots of stuff now is gonna seeing any hiker up a mountain is gonna make me think.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I really think that they've got something good there, but if you're getting the hype from it should win because it's so unique, play Dark Souls and be quiet. Just fucking have a look at how that handles it. It's identical pretty much, apart from. If in Dark Souls you could, instead of just dropping a note, if you could drop an item, if I could drop a sword for another player, that is the only difference, isn't it? Mm-hmm. One tangible, physical, material thing to help another player left by somebody is the only difference. Bear in mind, though, you can actually summon people in Dark Souls. But
I think I'm not played enough of Death Stranding to talk properly on it, but so far for me, the feeling based on what I have played. The feeling of reading a note and then having to interpret what that note means is more interesting than thank fuck there's a ladder here. Do you know what I mean? That's where I'm at so far. But like I said, I'm only on chapter 3 as I'm at Death Stranding. So.
No, it's good. The story sells it. The world sells it. I really like it. I can see if people would not like it. I don't think people will. I think most people would understand it. It really beats you over the head with the story.
Towards the end, especially. There's a hell of a lot of exposition at the end.
Is there? Yeah.
Well, even by Kojima standards.
I refuse to believe
I got a text the other day saying
Still
the game
watching
feels like saying that the game feels like it's over. They were on chapter 9. Yeah.
How many chapters are there?
14.
Yeah.
there can't really be another 5 chapters or whatever. Yeah, mate, there is.
But there were. You mentioned Sekiro a few times there as well, and I think if I had to, I'm going to say it 40 minutes in, I'm going to say it at this stage, if I've got to pick one game, I'm going to go Sekiro.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because of how like impressed I was that they've done it again kind of thing, right? And I was just thinking, it's just, it's making me feel like a samurai shinobi thing, which I've said before on a podcast or not, but it's making you play and behave and feel the way that you're supposed to. It's like role playing to the next level, where you can't, if you're going to go in there swinging your weapon and hiding and stuff. In Dark Souls, it's very easy to like cower, to hide behind a shield, and you're oppressed, right? But like imagine that you hadn't done New Game Plus and all that, but the first time you're ever playing Dark Souls, raise that fucking shield, baby, hide behind it, right? That's what they're trying to make you do.
Yeah.
In Bloodborne, they're trying to make you vicious, like fucking bloodthirsty. All the themes in there are about hunger and thirst for the blood, and beware the call of the blood. And they make you want to go in there to attack the enemy, even if it means you're pretty much going to die. Like you have to throw the dice all the time, because you've got that like frenzied approach to combat that they want to make you have, which is thematically superb. And then in Sekiro, it's about discipline and timing and waiting for them to attack and responding like a fucking samurai. It was so good, and I was really impressed, like in loads of ways, by the game. Even though I sort of hated it near the end, and even then I was still thinking though, it's the fucking best.
It was a love-hate relationship.
It was.
I just love it. It annoyed me towards the end, but I didn't hate it at any point. I blame myself. I was pure Stockholm syndrome. Wow, From aren't bad, and I love Tenchu, And I
was that an Eddie Redmayne impression? Because if it wasn't, it can be, mate. Okay.
Thank you. So yes, I just as somebody that wanted like a new Tenchu game, I didn't really feel like I really did get one, but
no.
I feel like Neo is closer to Tenchu because it's level based and you pick up your equipment in this, but. I don't think anyone else has said that as far as I've seen, but it's a no-brainer. If you've not played Neo, you should. But I like Sekiro so much that I would have said it was my game of the year, but you've said it, and I want to give us a little bit of a variety. But just so you can gauge the polls, guys.
Oh, fucking hell. I feel awful, man.
Yeah, it's your fucking fault.
Alright, actually, I take that back. It's the Jedi one.
No, don't worry, mate. Listen, they're all the same. They're all swordy ones. But Sekiro is I think, my personal favourite. But I'm going to, because of how much I've mentioned it, I'll tell you about my game of the year in a second. I just want to go through some more first, because there are some really good contenders. I know what you're going to say, and I know what I'm going to say. So, game of the year, Tenchu. Game of this year, Sekiro says On the Street. Sekiro was like the second most popular People's Choice Awards here. Eric Valade, Sean Blackmore, loads of people bringing it up. I'll tell you what else got a lot of mentions, and none of us have really played it, is that Monster Hunter DLC. Iceborne, loads of people talking about that. Control got a few people. Katana Zero, now this year, surprisingly good. Surprisingly
Very
good game. I don't know if it was the game of the year. I didn't go, now that is unlike.
But,
I'll tell you what really was popular then. It's Liam, I think it's your choice, is it? But I can tell you it's the most popular one.
It is the one and only Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
Which is my personal game of the year.
It just edged Sekiro on our list here. Most people said, about 30 people said it.
That was my personal game of the year, and the People's Choice Award for this year.
The official Kit Kat Chunky Award. This is the sound of a Kit Kat
Chunky Orange
inside of its thing. Yeah, sorry. The Special News People's Choice Award, unofficially brought to you by Kit Kat Chunky Orange, and I'll snap it so you can hear it. This is for the audio listeners. There we go.
That's a genuine Kit Kat Chunky Orange.
And we're off.
Yeah. Thanks to our friends at Kit Kat Chunky Orange who know nothing about this.
Who don't know we exist.
Yeah, Nestle. Come on, man. So, Resident Evil, it was pretty flawless, but Liam, why do you give it the edge over everything you've ever played this year?
Because
everything you've ever played recently.
So Resident Evil 2, the original, is one of my favourite games of all time. Still is. And Resident Evil 2 Remake took that and somehow translated it into what I thought was basically the perfect remake, as far as you can get. There was a few little tiny bits missing, but you probably wouldn't really give a shit about them unless you're like a die-hard Resident Evil 2 fan.
Yeah.
But as far as remakes go, it's one of the best ever, and the game just really absorbed me into like just everything about it.
How many times did you play it?
7, I think.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
I played it 7 times. I did one campaign run through as Leon, one campaign run through as Claire. I did a S rank playthrough as Leon, an S rank playthrough as Claire, and then an S rank hardcore playthrough as Leon. Again, an S rank hardcore playthrough as Claire, and then just once again, because why not? And I even did the Tofu Survivor, which is like the bonus game mode you have to unlock, where you can't attack, you have no only knives to counter the zombies, you can't actually kill them, you play as a giant block of tofu, and I did it, and I was so happy.
Right.
As far it's just I'm a massive Resident Evil fan anyway.
Yeah.
And even down to the streets at the beginning where they're all on fire and the zombies are coming at you and you have to go through the sewer. Well, not the sewer, just the back alleys and stuff that. And then you get to the police station, and when you open the door to the police station, they have the remixed theme from the original. Oh, it hit me in the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It was great, and it was just the gameplay was great. It made zombies scary again, which I thought was never possible.
There was horrible texture in them, didn't they? When they died, basically they just looked horrible.
So it was good to play a game where zombies actually felt like a threat to you again, rather than just mindless fodder to bash through.
Yeah.
And of course, how can you forget Mr. X? He became a meme.
A meme, yeah, that
tells you how popular he is.
Yep.
And my favourite meme of him was him getting modded out and replaced with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yes.
And I think it's just it's a highly replayable game, which you don't really get much these days. A lot of games I play through now, I'm always one and done. But with Resident Evil 2, as soon as I finished it, I was like, I want to go again. And I think I finished Resident Evil 2 Remake the day it came out, both campaigns. Leon and Claire. I hammered it. And it's just it proves Capcom has still got it in them, especially with Monster Hunter and Devil May Cry in the same year.
Yeah. They've been doing really well.
Yeah,
they've been doing well
since Resident Evil 7. They've been on the rise.
They have, and it's honestly the perfect remake next to Resident Evil 1 remake.
It says a lot that a remake is even in the conversation. Do you know what I mean? A remake on paper.
Yeah.
You think, well, how's that going to be? Maybe perhaps it shouldn't be considered a game, but it fucking should, because it's really good.
I think it showed Resident Evil can still be survival horror as well, instead of because in recent years it has been mostly action based.
Well, yeah.
But this showed you can still make a third person Resident Evil without it having explosions all the time and you having machine guns mounted on helicopters.
I'm really glad they went for third person and didn't do. Even though I really like Resident Evil 7, I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they tried to do something different with it. And
well, there were some people who wanted the remake to be fixed camera again.
They should have made an unlockable mode.
That would, have
you seen? There's unlockable character skins that are the PS1 models.
Yeah, the classic
that was quite
retro
funny.
Models. Yeah,
so it's 6 polygons for your character
in this amazing world.
In this really highly detailed world, and that's it. It looks amazing as well.
Yeah,
it looks amazing. It ran at 60 FPS on everything.
Yeah,
it's just such a good game. It's beautiful.
One of these games as well where it's it does, it's not a big fucking open world thing. It's just a very confined area, and it's a dense contained experience. And then get access to a new corridor and a set of rooms is a big deal. You know what I mean? It's this key's open this place, and then that place is then rich with stuff to look at and things to scare you. And you go back there later on, and things have changed a little bit, and it's a bit. It's really, really good. Yep. Really well made.
I like that they expanded on some parts as well. Gave you a bit where you could play as Sherry doing that hide and seek bit.
Yeah.
Where you could play as Ada in the original, but they recreated that. Yeah. They expanded some characters, like Marvin. He dies in the first 5 minutes of the original. But in this one, he's in it for a bit. He's in it for a bit, yeah.
20 minutes of the
for a good 20 minutes. I just as far as remakes can go, it's all you could really ask for.
Yeah.
And now with this leak of Resident Evil 3, I'm just excited.
This is exactly.
It's a good time to be a Resident Evil fan after
really
years of not so great times for Resident Evil fans.
It's Resident Evil 3 not concept art, like a box art,
like a pre-order thumbnail type thing.
3 images which imply 3 different versions leaked on the PSN store. So not like some like random German website or Walmart Canada or whatever the fuck. It's the PlayStation network.
They found them on the actual network.
And Sony are doing a PSN this week. Not PSN.
State of Play.
Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone just calls it PlayStation Direct.
PlayStation Direct,
yeah, that's what it is.
They've got one of them. And the Game Awards are this week, so who knows if we'll see Resident Evil 3. I reckon it's going to be ready to rock probably this year coming up. So
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be waiting long. No. They are both amazing picture, because in any other year I would have... Well, Sekiro is the best game of the year. But Resident Evil 2 is amazing. The only reason I wouldn't ever say it...
Why don't you just talk about Sekiro, because you'll have different things to say than me?
Nah, because I want to give this one credit, because I gave it no credit, no props, no fucking nothing until I bought it. So my game of the year is Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I absolutely fucking loved this year. I can't believe it. It's the funniest, weirdest story ever about, like, it was very, very odd. It was very, very odd.
You learned to love instead of hate.
Yeah, innit? Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I just bought it on a whim because I was surprised that neither of you two wanted to get a tactical
There's a bit
battle.
of venom in that then. I wasn't not happy with that.
No.
Neither of you two.
No, this is it. This is what... No, I'm trying to go through all of the feelings. So, I thought, Liam getting a JRPG, dead cert. Liam's not interested. Mike getting a tactical battle game, dead cert. Nah, neither of you bothered. And I thought, you know what? Fuck these guys. So I thought, oh right, well, remember, like, it had loads of fucking love on the Nintendo Direct. They had like a whole 20-minute thing about like the houses. I don't care about it. Whatever, I'll get it. I got it cheap, and I was like, and this is like the first day, so I was like, I don't know about these social sim thingies. You know what I mean? Like, I played Doki Doki Literature Club, which I really liked, and that's like some psychological horror game. Is disguised as one of these visual novels, like so that you start off and you're like this kid, and all these girls are pining over you and calling you sensei and whatever chan and all this bollocks, and then it starts going down this route where it's interesting, and then that's where the game gets interesting. And I heard that you need to play it because of this. The first 20 minutes feels really awkward, knowing that some Californian male is role playing a Japanese woman trying to basically seduce me, the player. I don't like it. I don't like this Be Popular Simulator stuff. Persona 5 is a bit annoying. I don't like it when people, you know what I mean? It's like a very weeby version of when your cousin asks if you want to go bowling on Resident Evil. Yeah. Not Resident Evil, Grand Theft Auto, yeah? So I'm just a bit like... Good
comparison.
So this game I heard was about that. You were in school and you were a teacher, and you had all these students that you had to... And I was like, oh... They're all wearing skirts. It's going to be annoying, isn't it? But no, mate, it takes on this fucking really good... Right, first of all, the game is called Fire Emblem Three Houses. You get to pick these 3 things. There's this silly loyalty to it. It's like Harry Potter fans, you know, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor, whatever the fuck, yeah? Everyone's like, oh, whatever. There's this, like, loyalty to it. So whenever I speak to somebody else that's played this game, what house are you? They'll slag you off and trash you if you haven't picked the same house as
them. Do you know, that's like a trade secret in creative writing circles of, like, divide your fan base into groups by giving them allegiances.
Yeah, right.
You'll instantly, like, double, triple the amount of interest.
Cause a debate. Yeah, exactly. So
that's in a lot of young adult, like, Hunger Games and all that.
This is very young adult, but it felt like really nice, basically. Like, because of that, you could just easily digest the story that's going on. It's got this really high fantasy set up, like you're in a kingdom that's divided by war and conflict, and a bit Game of Thronesy, and then it's like some high magical god shit happens. Whatever. But then the battles happen, and it's tactical, tile-based, turn-based. You're leading your students into battle who have all got different traits, but you completely customize them. So unless they die, because if they die forever, you can have like up to like 15 party members basically, and they can all do, and you can properly customize them, so you can really make it, you can make a whole squad of archers if you wanted. They had this real nice thing I didn't expect, and then like it's split into 2 things: the battling and then the social side. The social side, you've got energy that you spend, and like you can do fishing or gardening or speaking to people or learning about them and whatever, and that gives you you a bond, which makes you work together. It's like experience. It's basically leveling up, but it was so well integrated. And I don't know how similar this is to the other Fire Emblem games, which I never played. It was the first time I've ever played a game like it, and because it was like a genre first for me, it just hit me in a different way than everything else has hit me this year, because I've never played anything like it, and I thought I was going to hate it, and I didn't. So it gets props from that. A cynic was completely converted the other way, and on top of that, kept me hooked for, I think, about 60 hours. So because of that, I've got to give it the biggest props of Game of the Year. Can't argue with that, can you?
That's the top three then. Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, and...
Yeah, a quick honourable mention I've got to say, though, yeah, which was very, very close. Children of Morta was so close, because it's so flipping good. I love these roguelike key things.
Yeah.
Slay the Spire, amazing this year. Mm-hmm. Can't believe that was this year, but... Children of Morta mixed everything I liked about roguelikes and high fantasy games and pixel-arty dungeon crawlery things, and made it really work. I thought Hades was the best one I've played in ages, and then Children of Morta came along, and then now that is... I've been spoilt for roguelikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good shit, man. Children of Morta is absolute slammer. Absolutely.
Did anyone mention that on Twitter?
Yes, actually. Only one person, I think, did. And it was Resident Evil 2 and Children of Morta, and that was Matt Rutland. So, other than that, no one else mentioned it. Oh, Felipe did, actually, with Outer Wilds. I'll tell you a game that came up a couple of times, which surprised me. It came up 3 times. A Plague Tale Innocence.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about
it. Totally went under my radar.
Anyone's played it?
No, I think I've not played it.
You've played it, right?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah, I've not played it.
I played it when it first came out. I thought it was... what surprised me about that is how incredible the game looks for the budget, and it's very, very linear, and it's telling a story in a really streamlined way. Yeah. There's no open world bits, there's no collectible bits. It's literally, you're in a monastery, you've got to get from A to B and there's rats. Then you're out the monastery, you've got to get to the castle, there's A to B and there's rats. But the way that it just streamlines the story and the gameplay with this linear thing, but you feel like the whole time you're on this urgent journey, so you don't feel like... It makes sense that you've got to go everywhere quick, and the world's full of rats swarming everywhere, so you're not going to go around the fields picking up golden apples and fucking shards of the flask of the fucking gods. You're just getting on with it, and it told a story in such a quick way. It was like 4 hours long or something like that, maybe shorter, but I think it just nailed everything it wanted to do, and considering the budget, people were saying, oh, stop whinging about Outer Worlds, it had no budget. I've seen Plague Tale's budget, and it fucking Focus Home just...
Yeah, but loads of indie games haven't got budget, and they're fucking some of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. So it's
Oprah Din sends its fucking regards.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well, Jesus. Yeah, exactly. I want to give an honourable mention as well to Outer Wilds.
Yeah,
I haven't finished it.
I've seen loads of people singing this praises.
Yeah, Disco Elysium and Outer Wilds are the 2 indie picks this year. All of these VG 24/7, and that's like, it's the hipster choice. I must say, Felipe, who brought you Children of Morta, Resident Evil, and Apex, was the also Outer Wilds representative here.
Very good taste there.
Good for
Apex. We've not even talked about Apex. Do you know what I mean? Apex is there any game? Mm-hmm. Is there any game that we have collectively put more out? If you added up all our hours on every game,
about 150 hours in it.
Yeah, exactly. But my hours are going to be pretty high on it as well. Do you know what I mean? I've played loads of.
They've upped the level cap now. I'm level 121, so it's like just fucking. That is my most played game of the year, easy.
So if anyone is thinking, 2019 wasn't any good, what are you on? Not PlayStation, that's for sure. It's Outer Wilds is very, very, very good, and it's it does cool stuff with sci-fi. It does cool stuff with like the roguelike elements, I guess. The idea of a universe reset that is out of your control sort of reminded me a bit of like Minute, that little game.
I know Minute. It's fucking ace.
Just a bit like that, and but it's like harrowing sometimes when it happens in Outer Wilds, and Jesus, it's good. It's really, really good, and it's really exciting. It's open, but it's not. It's not Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's open ended.
I fully believed that they were working on this when Minute came out, and they went, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah,
someone else has taken
I can see that. Yeah.
Because Minute got the praise mostly because of its time looping mechanic, forced time loop, which is the thing you've got no control over, right? Which I guess you could say Majora's mastered, but this is extreme.
Yeah.
And I bet they were thinking, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly. and it's sort of, I've said this about a couple of other games actually, but it does with with No Man's Sky, it's trying to give you this sense of like, it's like wonder and, you know, the universe is a big place kind of thing, and there's mystery in the stars. But this is doing exactly that, but in a completely different way. There's only like 5 planets or something. Do you know what I mean? But
really
it's
like small.
Yeah, the planets are tiny, and there's really crazy shit happening when you land in. Like the physics and stuff of the places different sometimes, and it's seriously
it's
good.
Not an algorithm, right? So like it's handcrafted, and you get a feel of that.
That's right. Yeah. So Outer Wilds is my sort of
connoisseur's choice.
Honourable mention, because I can't honestly say that Sekiro isn't a better game than it, because Sekiro's fucking absolute masterwork sort of thing. But and Apex as well. Apex,
man, like I didn't realise I'd be spending so much time. I don't think my family realised that they'd be spending so much time watching
EA didn't Respawn didn't. Do you know what I mean? Like the people who made it,
nobody did. And I can very, very clearly remember them announcing it. Boom, right there. Me, Liam, and Stu downloaded it the second it came out. We must have been one of the first people to be playing it. We won the very first game we played.
It was great. Good times.
That was the
whenever else was learning it, we
won the first game with a Mozambique, yeah? That was honestly the first game. And then since then, and then I've watched the meta develop every time you guys, because you guys have been in and out of it. And I love that every time there's an update, you get back on, and we all see everything new. So we've seen new maps, new characters, legends. My family know the full rosters, names off by heart. I never thought that would happen. It's got a real, I think you said it before once, maybe like a real like Colosseum vibe. Like you can sit and watch it, even if my dad could watch it, because it's like watching the Bloodsport, isn't it? Not Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport, which has been added to Netflix recently. But in fact,
what's that in the last 12 months? I think.
I think I have as well. You know.
There's a lot of special sauce in that.
Like, I've got a couple honourable mentions.
Go on, Liam.
I want to say Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night.
Yeah.
Who for a kickstarted game from a Japanese author from years and years ago would actually be this good? Not a lot of people, because not a good track record for that sort of thing. Kickstarter, is it? But yeah, Bloodstained, it came out, and it was absolutely one of, if not the best Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of Night probably still edges it out, but it is without a doubt one of the best Metroidvania games ever. Hollow Knight, what's that? Who cares? Bloodstained is so good. Like, it came out, it had a few issues on console and Switch. The PC version was fine when it came out, but it like Resident Evil 2, it just drew me in and kept me there for ages. I think I played it for like 40 hours. Bloodstained. I tried to do all the side quests. I tried to get a lot of the gear. Eventually, I did give up because it was a lot of farming, a lot of RNG to get certain items and stuff. Had a lot of like just shitty little quests, but the main quest line was great. It had all the secret areas you can expect from that sort of game. It was like well voice acted. David Hayter was in it. That's got to tell you something.
Snake.
Solid
what
Snake
does he
was
say?
in it.
What kind of things does he say in it?
Colonel.
Yeah.
Not Colonel, but it is basically Solid Snake if he was a samurai instead.
Okay, all right, that's a good sell.
And not a bad story, pretty comparable to Castlevania stories actually. And yeah, it's the best Castlevania game we've had in years, since Castlevania doesn't really exist anymore. And I just loved it. And if you like Metroidvanias, it's one of the best. And it goes on sale quite frequently now.
Yeah, I see.
It's on sale like all the time. And then my other little game I want to mention is Control from Remedy, who I will always love.
I need to play that.
They make such good games. If you want to see world building, Control is the best. Like, a lot of people compare it to like SCP, like the online fandom wiki, which is like a bit like X-Files.
It's like an X-Files ARG kind of thing.
Yeah, and people write articles about like paranormal, supernatural events going on. That's basically what Control is. Great story, great gunplay, graphically beautiful. One of the best looking games this gen for sure.
What did you play on?
I played it on PC, and it's one of the best looking games easily this gen, and I think you should probably try and go into it blind. I think the less you know about it, the better. I think the more surprising it is.
I don't know anything about it, and I really do want to play it. I'm just waiting for the price to come down a little bit. It might be like like a Boxing Day, January sale type one for me. Because that's exactly my kind of game as well, where I know it will end in 20 hours.
Because it's not long; it's about 15-20 hours.
Fucking perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Like
excellent.
If you're remotely into like sci-fi, X-Filesy type stuff, if you like exploration and weird stuff going on, this will be right up your alley. That's great.
All right, well, listen,
I recommend it.
I was going to read out the new releases, but it's like Detroit Become Humans coming on PC and shit like that.
MechWarrior
5 and
Avicii's game.
See you next week.
See you then.